Tier 8 has a new IJN destroyer, and it's part of the current campaign, the Brewing Storm. Hayate sails into Legends as a bit of a hybrid, although I'm going to firmly advocate that this should be set up as a gunboat. I'll show you plenty of examples to hopefully sway you as well. We are on Warrior's Path, and we're actually the only destroyer in the entire game. Red team plays kind of passive over here on A side, so this game can demonstrate the potential of Hayate to rack up damage. She can rack up a pretty good amount of damage, you will see. But before we commit to going in the cap, there is one radar cruiser on the other team. Probably radar. It's a Plymouth. He could have smoke, he could have radar, but we're not going to risk it. We're going to go a little wide to try to spot for our team, throw down some torps. Like I talked about in the recent daring video this week, anytime I get access to a hybrid destroyer, that is a destroyer that has decent guns, decent torps, and concealment, you can often build it in many different ways, and it's no secret that I generally go straight for guns. In the case of Hayate though, I see several reasons you should do guns over torpedoes, but to explain, let's look at two very key statistics. Base gun reload, 4 seconds. Base torpedo reload, 153 seconds. That is a long time, 2.5 minutes. Base stats like this are really what decides how you should play a ship, or how I play a ship. So yes, you have Yugumo torpedoes. They deal massive amounts of damage, almost 24,000 apiece, but Yugumo is going to reload her torpedoes around a minute faster than the Hayate. So she's going to have a huge advantage in the amount of torps she puts out during a game. Hayate does not have that, but she does have insane guns, so stay tuned. Let's take a look at my build first though. Aiming systems, prop, concealment, and MBM3. Kurita would be my free go-to commander. I would recommend Observant Rage, Perceptive, Cloudy Days, and Unstoppable. In this game, I'm actually using Azurlane Yukikaze, so if you hear any weird Japanese anime voices, that would explain it, but they're basically identical. My inspirations are Bay and Mordoff in this game, although you could use Sims if you don't have Mordoff to bolster the HP a little bit more. This is a pretty healthy boat though, as you can see in the bottom left over there. Togo, it's not a bad idea for a gun destroyer. In fact, it's who I use on the Akazuki. Better fire chance, better speed, better gun range. What's not to like? The only reason I would take Kurita over Togo is because of Perceptive. I think it's arguably the best destroyer skill in the game, and it's going to give you this little half moon shaped thing here, the RPF indicator, I suppose. It's going to show you where the nearest ship is, or rather it's going to show you what tile on your map the nearest ship is. It's very helpful in finding and hunting other destroyers, knowing where enemy DDs are, blah blah blah. It's just a very, very useful skill to have. Now, in this game, the only other enemy DD is an Elbing, and if you watched my review on that ship, you know it's not much of a destroyer at all. So I'm not going to worry about hunting him or killing him or anything like that, and it's way too hot to get into this cap right now. So we're going to get over here, we're just going to farm and force these battleships back. We did get out of our smoke screen, because I figured the Elbing was going to send his torps this way, and here they come. I forgot though just how slow Elbing torpedoes were until this match, and I was like, oh, well, this is really not a threat. They are very, very slow. I can't remember how slow, probably like, I don't know, 45 or 50 knots. They're kind of a joke. They're like Italian sea mines, but anyways, this is a Hayate's best case scenario. You can use your awesome firepower to set fires on battleships, send some torps downrange every once in a while, and just rack up some pretty good damage numbers. So the survivability on Hayate, it's very good. It's 23,840 here with Sims, but stock, it's going to be third place, only after the Elbing and the Delny. Elbing, by the way, might be coming back for global XP sooner than we thought. It was kind of hinted at by the SIMs in their recent stream, so we're going to include the Elbing stats on all of the charts today. And these are all stock numbers. The guns, they're freaking great. You have 6 127mm IJN guns. They hit like a truck, 2150 per shell. That is the best at the tier, and a 9% base fire chance. That 4-second reload, the DPM for high explosive, is second only to the super strong Allen M. Sumner. But say you buff it like I have, you get the reload down to 3 seconds. Your gun output is going to be in the top 5 for all destroyers in the entire game. Gearing, Allen and Sumner, and Friesland. As I have it figured, I might have missed something, but those are the only 3 DDs I think that can out DPM the Hayate. That is how powerful this destroyer is when blasting away with high explosive shells. AP shells definitely fall off behind some of the others, especially the Soviet ships and the German ones. Moving on, strong torps. Yep, you saw 3 torpedoes netted us quite a bit of damage, so yeah, they're great. They're just held back by the reload. Now this ship does have the option to use a torp reload booster, like Udachi would have, or like the Tech Tree Tier 7 Kagero if you want to give up your smoke screens, and that is exactly what you would have to do with Hayate. You would have to give up your 2 smoke screens for 1 torp reload booster. Now, it's my personal preference. I would rather have the utility that smoke offers than a double dose of torpedoes. I mean, sure, you get some insane torpedo alpha out there one time a game. It's handy, it's cool, it can be devastating, but I like smokes in case I screw up, which happens all the time, in case I want to push caps, in case there's a CV that wants to make my life hell. So many reasons I would rather take the smoke over the torp reload booster, especially in a gunboat focused DD like this one. The torpedoes smack, and they have a great 12 km range. They are, however, very easy to spot in the water, so enemies are going to be dodging them more than you might like. I think you could attempt a torpedo build, but again, I just wouldn't force it. If you want to play a torp boat, up here at the high tiers, you have Kagero, Udachi, Yugamo, and of course the Shimakaze. If you want to play an IJN gunboat at high tier right now, all you have is the Akazuki. Maybe Azerlane Yukikaze at tier 6 if you want to include that. But really, Hayate can be a monster gunboat while we are waiting for Kitakaze and the Harugamo. As you can see, we've farmed a good amount of damage over here. The only thing this video really doesn't do justice and show is how effective Hayate is against enemy DDs. This is not a helpless IJN torp boat, and it's going to take a while for the Reds to figure that out. But while they don't have it figured out, take advantage of it. Okay, final stats. AA DPS 4th place. I've been focused by Saipan heavily. I did get a few of his planes, but mostly you're a very big target, so you're going to want to use your teammates' AA bubbles or smoke to stay away from the fun police. Speed is 37, that's respectable, and of course you get an 8% speed boost. Turning circle, it's big. It's kind of big, 750. Really, the rate of turn feels slow, and maneuvering is going to feel cumbersome. This is a big destroyer. Looking at the port models between it and Shimakaze, it is bigger than the legendary tier destroyer. And that brings up some issues with open water gunboating and DD fights. The enemy's going to have a pretty easy time in hitting you. You're a very big target, so beware of that. Last stat, Concealment. It's the 2nd best here at the tier, only behind the Yugamo. Well, this game is winding down. They have the ship lead by 1, but we have the points lead by a lot. We're going to get the Bismarck out of the game here. And I believe this is a wasted smoke, but I thought the mines was closer, and I thought the Bismarck wasn't going to get blapped by our Iowa. GG City, Iowa. He had a very good game here. But yes, wasted smoke. Anyways, we're going to get the cap, and then we're going to move into B and start doing my job as a DD. I really didn't have to do a lot of DD things this game. Red team sat there. I didn't really have to spot or anything like that. No one was hiding behind an island. They were sitting right out in the open. The enemy DD wasn't a DD at all. It's an Elbing. That's kind of like a small cruiser. So gunboat destroyer things I didn't do a lot of, but Hayate is excellent in DD versus DD fights. It has really good gun angles, so you can kind of face bow out, get all of your guns on target as you kite away. And if things get too hot and heavy, you can go straight bow out and still have most of your firepower pointed at the enemy. So yes, Hayate is great in DD versus DD fights. Overall, I think this is a very strong boat. It can fill a lot of roles well. My issue with her, though, would be her poor maneuverability. It's the reason I will take Fletcher out time after time before I will take the Akazuki out. This big, heavy IJN destroyer handles like a brick. It makes it difficult to dodge torpedoes, move around the map smoothly. But if you can get past that and set up your 1v1 fights the way you want them, then all of the other DDs up here at high tiers need to fear the Hayate. If you sleep on the Hayate guns, you just might be sent back to port, or if anything, you're going to lose a ton of health in a slugfest. I still think Kaba, Gearing, Sumner still win, but they're going to be on life support afterwards, especially if it's set up for guns and there's a good DD captain at the helm. Of course, for 2,500 dubs, the ship's worth it. I think every campaign ship is worth 2,500 doubloons, and I think she can be a lot of fun, especially if you like tier 8, if you enjoy playing top tier like this. But this game proves that when the Reds play kind of passively and make themselves easy targets, the Hayate can rack up some pretty good amounts of damage. I actually had a better game than this to showcase. It was probably about 170k, but we had some technical difficulties. We'll leave it at that. Anyways, this game turned out decent, but as you can see, we're going to win it on points. If you would do me a big favor, hit the like button. It would help me out a lot. Maybe it would help new players find this video and improve our player base one video at a time. If you guys are going to pick the ship up, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.